Hello Dragons, and welcome to this instructional video for Lesson 9 Part 2, the Organization of the Executive Branch. The main idea behind this civics lesson is to help achieve the President's goals. The executive branch employs more than 3 million people who form a huge bureaucracy. With that in mind, by the end of watching this video, you'll be able to define the role of the Executive Office of the President, explain the importance of executive departments, describe some of the major independent agencies, explain the need for the civil service system, and explore the process of carrying out a law. Now that the outcomes for this lesson have been shared with you, let's get started. As our nation has grown, the President's duties have grown too. Each year, hundreds of laws must be carried out. Decisions must be made on a wide range of foreign and domestic policy issues. To fulfill their many duties, presidents have needed more and more help. The executive branch has grown from a few hundred officials in George Washington's time to about 3 million employees today. It is now the largest branch of government. As it has grown, the executive branch has become a huge bureaucracy. A bureaucracy is an organization of government departments, agencies, and offices. Most people who work in the bureaucracy are not chosen to work just for one president. They are hired as permanent employees. To help direct the bureaucracy, the president appoints an administration, a team of executive branch officials. The nearly 2,000 members of the administration lead the three main parts of the executive branch: the executive office of the president, the executive departments, and the independent agencies. The executive office of the president is largely made up of the people the president chooses to help make foreign and domestic policy. Unlike the other parts of the executive branch, the main job of the executive office is not to carry out laws directly, but to advise the president on important matters relating to the many presidential roles. The executive office of the president is made up of three groups: the White House staff, the vice president, and special advisory groups. At the center of the administration is the White House staff. It includes the president's inner circle of trusted advisors and assistants. Some of these people see the president every day. They give advice and information about national security, the economy, and other subjects. The White House staff also helps guide the bureaucracy toward meeting the president's goals. Some presidents like having several staff members report directly to them on issues relating to the executive departments and independent agencies. Other presidents have depended on one powerful chief of staff to whom other staff members report. The staff includes a chief of staff and other key advisors, press secretaries, legal experts, speechwriters, office workers, and researchers. The White House staff may truly be called the president's people because all of its members are appointed or hired by the president and do not need Senate approval. The Constitution gives the Vice President no duties aside from presiding over the Senate. It is the President who decides what the Vice President will do. Some presidents ask the Vice President to play an active role, heading special commissions, making trips to other countries, and working with Congress. More often, the Vice President has been almost invisible. Fearing this fate, some leaders have refused to run for Vice President. In 1848, Daniel Webster declared, "I do not propose to be buried until I am dead." If the president dies, though, the vice president may become president. Our nation's first vice president, John Adams, is reported to have said, "In this I am nothing, but I may be everything." 8 times in our nation's history, the vice president has risen to the highest office in the land because of the death of a president. The vice president may also be asked to serve as acting president if the president falls seriously ill. Since the vice president may become president, the qualifications for the two offices are the same. The executive office of the president also includes several special groups that help the president make decisions on domestic and foreign policy. The two most important groups are the Office of Management and Budget, or OMB, and the National Security Council, or the NSC. The OMB decides how much the president's policy goals will cost. The president may change the goals in light of the price tags provided by the OMB. Then the OMB prepares the budget that is sent to Congress. The National Security Council plays a major role in helping the president make foreign policy. The NSC includes top military officers and advisors from other government agencies and departments concerned with foreign affairs and national defense. The Constitution refers to executive departments, but does not tell how many or what they should do. Over the years, the number of executive departments has grown, and they have been given many duties. Today, they form the largest part of the executive branch. As you can imagine, they do much of the nuts and bolts work connected with carrying out the nation's laws and running government programs. Each executive department helps fulfill one or more of the president's duties. The Department of State, for example, handles relations with other countries. It helps put the president's foreign policy decisions into action. The Department of Defense helps the president fulfill the duty of commander-in-chief by running the armed forces. The duties of each department are huge, needing many workers and much money to carry out. The Department of Defense, for instance, has a budget of over $700 billion and more than 1 million workers. Its headquarters is a huge 5-sided building in Arlington, Virginia, called the Pentagon. The president appoints the head of each executive department. As a check on presidential power, each appointment must be approved by the Senate. The head of the Department of Justice is called the Attorney General. The other department heads are called secretaries, such as the Secretary of State and the Secretary of the Treasury. The department secretaries and the Attorney General form the core of the cabinet, an important group of policy advisors to the president. The executive departments do not carry out all the duties of today's executive branch. Many tasks, from making rules about nuclear energy to providing farm loans, are carried out by approximately 60 independent agencies. There are 3 types of agencies: executive agencies, regulatory commissions, and government corporations. Executive agencies are under the direct control of the president, who can choose or remove their directors. They have many different jobs. Among the most important agencies are the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, and the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA. Congress has formed 12 regulatory commissions. Each one makes and carries out rules for a certain business or economic activity. The Federal Communications Commission, or FCC for instance, makes rules for radio and television stations. The Consumer Product Safety Commission, or CPSC, sets safety standards for products you might find around the house. The regulatory commissions also settle disputes between businesses they regulate. The regulatory commissions are meant to be fairly free from political influences. The president chooses members of the boards which run the commissions. Each member has a long term so that no single president can choose all of the board's members. Government corporations are like private businesses in that they try to make a profit. However, most of them provide public services that may be too risky or expensive for a private business to undertake. The United States Postal Service is one example of a government corporation. Although the heads of the executive departments and many of the independent agencies are chosen by the president, these government bodies are not simply tools for putting presidential powers into action. Congress has an important say in how executive departments and agencies are run. When members of Congress disagree with the president, executive departments and independent agencies can become settings for political battles. During President Clinton's second term, for example, Republican leaders in Congress proposed a bill that would eliminate 2 independent agencies, the Arms Control and Disarmament Agency and the United States Information Agency. The bill would also move a 3rd independent agency, the United States Agency for International Development, under the authority of the State Department. Led by Senator Jesse Helms of North Carolina, this move was designed to streamline government bureaucracy. At first, President Clinton opposed this measure. After Congress passed the bill, however, Clinton agreed to sign it, hoping to gain Republican support for foreign policy goals of his own. A conflict like this shows that the president must take into account the strength of Congress when making policy decisions. As you might imagine, the executive branch includes a wide variety of employees, from budget experts at the OMB to rocket engineers at NASA. The president chooses less than 1% of the workers in the executive branch. So how do all the others get their jobs? For many years, government jobs were likely to go to friends and supporters of the president. Loyalty to the president was more important than knowing how to do the job. In 1883, however, Congress set up the civil service system. Under this system, most government workers, called civil servants, are hired on the basis of merit. There are tests for most kinds of jobs, and workers are hired from among those with the highest scores. The civil service system provides for a group of trained workers who stay on the job from administration to administration. As you can imagine, carrying out laws is a big, complex job. The following example helps show how the executive branch works with legislators and the public to carry out laws. When Congress passed the Clean Air Act in 1970, the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, was put in charge of carrying out this law. Since then, part of the EPA's ongoing responsibility has been to create rules that meet the goals of the Clean Air Act. In October 1998, the EPA proposed new rules designed to reduce several specific types of hazardous air pollution. Before these rules went into effect, however, the EPA consulted with members of Congress, administration officials, industry leaders, interest groups, and the public. Public hearings were held at which interested parties presented their views on the proposed rules. The EPA also studied how much it would cost for industries to meet the new pollution guidelines. Finally, in May of 1999, after this process of study and public participation, the new air pollution rules went into effect. This example gives you an idea of the work that goes into carrying out a single law. Of course, there are hundreds of other laws that the executive branch must carry out. It must also make many important decisions about domestic and foreign policy. This helps explain why the executive branch has become such a huge bureaucracy. So that's the way it is with Lesson 9, Part 2, the organization of the executive branch. At this point, you should know that the executive office of the president is comprised of people who advise the president. Each part of the executive branch has specific functions it carries out, and the civil service system selects executive branch employees based on merit, no matter which political party is in power. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel to have the entire catalog of Civics videos available at your fingertips. Click the subscribe button and then click the follow bell to receive notifications as to when the channel is updated. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in class, Dragons. See ya!